Hello, I'm Emily,
And I'm Rachel.
and we did our research on the role gender plays in family communication. As we have all learned throughout our semester in Family Comm, our family is one of the factors that affect who we are. As we learned in Chapter 3, our gender and the gender roles society has placed on us can affect the way we act and communicate with others. Even the day we are born, it is decided what color we like, what toys we will play with, and even how we are treated and communicated with. These ideologies can follow us into our adulthood and how we communicate in future relationships. Luckily, studies such as the ones we researched can help us as a society to stop perpetuating these stereotypes and gender roles. Our first study that we looked at was called Are Children Communicated with Equally? An investigation of parent child sex composition and gender role communication differences by Haran et al., published in the Communication Research Reports in 2007. The study consisted of 375 daughters and 255 sons. The results showed that mothers communicated feminine messages similarly with both their female and male children. In the study, in the survey, students were asked to rate the way their parents communicated with them about behaving a certain way. So when they felt that their mother was both feminine to both the sons and the daughters, well, fathers communicated a more masculine messages to their sons and less masculine to their daughters. So they did not communicate a feminine way at all. And this shows that mothers were helping sons to be more androgynous, whereas fathers were typically helping perpetuate the stereotypes and gender roles.
So the next study we did was sex typing toys, and it was called The Relationship of Play Activity and Gender to Parent and Child Sex Typed Communication. And this is from the International Journal of Behavioral Development by Leeper and Gleason, and it is a 1996 study. But they wanted to understand how gender affected the way children and parents play together. And so they were given, parents of both genders and children of both genders were given stereotypically female or male toys, and then just watched how they played. And what they found was that the only thing that really affected how they played was the toy that they were given. It didn't have anything to do with the sex of the parents or the children. And so if they were given dolls, they would hold them carefully and speak to the child carefully and quietly. And if they were given cars and blocks, they played on the floor and they were loud and rambunctious. So it just came down to what type of toy and what type of play was happening that affected how they played.
In the next study, it looked at specifically father and son communication. The study was called Father-Son Family Communication Patterns and Gender Ideologies, a Modeling and Compensation Analysis by Ottenweiler et al., and was posted in the Journal of Family Communication in 2013. The study was trying to find the intergenerational connection between conformity orientations and enforcement of masculine ideologies. So this is why this study consisted of 125 men, all over the age of 18. They had to have a living father and had to have at least had one son of their own over the age of 7. The results concluded that the men felt their own gender ideologies were more feminine and androgynous compared to what their own father had taught them. The results also showed that there was a correlation between the grandfather's conformity orientations and the father's identity with the masculine gender ideology. While this study didn't actually find an intergenerational connection from grandfather to grandson, it showed how the grandfather's teaching to his son has related to the son's perception. And it also showed that the father felt that his masculinity and conformity orientation was less than that of his own father's, which will be the teachings that he teaches to his son. This shows that although stereotypes can be perpetuated, it shows that there's growth within gender stereotyping.
So the last study we looked at was called "In God We Lust: Implications of Religious Messages on Sexual Communication and Perceptions of Sexual Satisfaction in Romantic Relationships." This is by K.A. Baldas in 2010, and it came from the Humanities and Social Sciences collection. So this was a very meaty study. It had a lot of stuff, but I was just trying to focus on the gender role part of it. And basically, she wanted to understand how gender roles affected adult children, and or how their adult children were affected by the parents' expressions of their own gender roles. And what she found was the more traditional parents. Or the more traditional the gender role the parents expressed, the more the child felt compelled to fulfill the role in that way, in the traditional way. They also found that the more traditional the gender role of the parent, the less likely they were to talk about sex with the children. So adult children grew up with generally less competency when it came to birth control, sexual expression, and communication with their sexual partner. So that was a really interesting study. There's a lot of really good stuff in that one. But anyway, these studies, as well as all that we have learned this semester, reinforce the idea that gender is a powerful social construct that affects each of us personally as well as society as a whole. Thankfully, we also learned that dysfunctional gender roles can be overcome in healthy ways through understanding, recognition, and open communication.
Thank you.